Hello and welcome to round 2 of the USBXLA. We've got an interleague game tonight for you, and we're at the halfway stage of the Boston Bald Eagles at the Albuquerque Assassin here at Deadman's Arena. One of our Assassins are currently trailing 10-5 to the 0-1 Bald Eagles, and both goalkeepers, starting goalkeepers, have been changed so far. The Boston goalie was injured in the second minute of the game, and the Albuquerque goalie was removed at half time. He completed his mandatory half game if you're the starter in the USBXLA. So let's get on with the second half, and it is at the face-off spot. So 10 is high face-off wins. So we've got a 48 for Boston and an 80 for Albuquerque. So Albuquerque win the face-off, and we start with a 2 and a 4. Remember that I always swap somebody, and so if there's a 6 like there is here, then the 6 I take the green, but the 6 still counts. Excuse me. So we've got a 10, which is a turnover if there's a square, and there is. So Albuquerque don't get a shot and they turn it over, and we have a 5-2, which is going to be a boxler blast. 5 and the 2, we're going to mark 5 minutes off, or 5 segments off, which is 2.5 minutes. And then we look home penalty. So Boston score a penalty goal and go further in the lead. So go to Boston, power play goal to give them an 11-5 lead. And Albuquerque started off really strong in this game. They went up by 3-0, but since then it's been all one-way traffic. Gladstone gets the goal. That's 4 in a row for Gladstone. He scored the last 3 in the second period, and Fenderson gets the assist. So a power play goal to make it 11-5. And we go back to the face-off, and Boston have the momentum. And we have a 1-1, which is 2. And on the face-off, high face-off wins. Well, we already know that the high face-off, 52. But there's still 80, so Albuquerque win the face-off. And then we have a 2 and 4, which swap over. So we're going to have a crash on power. Boston have it, Albuquerque have it. Albuquerque have got momentum, so they'll get a chance. And it's a 7, 3 to 1 to 2. 3 will change. Sorry, that's wrong. Should be those. So Boston have a 0, 1, 3. So he's inside in the 4. It's a goal to Boston. So Boston quickly out of the blocks. 2 goals already in this period. And this goal, the second goal of the period for Boston, scored by Fenderson. And Garrett and Weston get the assists to give them a 12-5 lead. And Albuquerque have got to find something from somewhere. They're already 7 goals behind in what started off to be a really close game. So 6 is visitors will take the face-off. So Boston again have the ball, and they're coming up the court. And we have a 10, which is a turnover, and Boston turn the ball over. Albuquerque transitioning up the court with a 3. Most triangles will get a play, so that's 1, for Boston, 2 for Albuquerque, so Albuquerque get the chance. 5. 5 to 1 to 2, and 1 will change. So we have double scissors, that's not good. 1 and 2, so that's 3, so it's going to be a 0. So it's obviously going to be an Albuquerque miss, and 3, team with the most triangles, so we already know that is Albuquerque, so they will keep the ball and they'll start to build again. 4 and 1, that is a penalty, and it's against Albuquerque. So let's resolve the penalty here. So the penalty is on 11. The offensive 4, who is Bronson Browning, he's got a penalty of 0.5, so it's going to be a minor penalty to Albuquerque's Bronson. And the referee is telling us now what the penalty is, and it is a holding penalty. So Boston will go on the power play. Browning will be out for 2 minutes. We're going to need another defender in. So they're going to bring in Matt Shuttler. And Boston have the ball. 1 and 2, 3 power play if there's 2 power play circles, and they only have 1. And so Boston missed their chance, and Albuquerque come up the court with the ball, and we're looking at a 7, which is a power play, and they do have 1 this time, so it's only a single power play symbol they need. So pardon me, 6, 3 to 2 to 1, and 2 will change. And Boston now are looking at 6, and it's going to be a goal. Power play. Oh yes, power play goal. So goal for Boston again, taking a 13 to 5 lead, and this is becoming getting a bit out of hand now for Albuquerque. They need to try and do something to stem the flow of goals that they're allowing. Gladstone scores from Tellez and Stram on a power play goal to make it 13 to 5. They haven't scored now. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 goals unanswered now for Boston, and that's the penalty over. So we go back to even-handed. We're at the centre circle for a face-off. 5, 6. So the green dice will change the 5, and on an 11, procedure call. And the home team end up with the ball, so Albuquerque have finally got the ball, and hopefully they can start trying to do something with it. 1, 5, it's a 6, and so we've got a crash with a speed, and they both have it, so it will go to Boston as they have the momentum. 4 and 4. That is a scramble, and we're using 5, which is smart. So no smart for Boston. We've got 1 at least for Albuquerque, so Boston turn the ball over, and Albuquerque transition up the court. 2 and 4. This game can change quickly if they can get momentum, but it's getting to that stage. So a 6 is a crash, and we're using hit. neither have it, so it stays with Albuquerque for a chance. And we're looking at 5, which is 5 to 1 to 2, and 1 will change. So we've got 2 stars, 4 stars. They've got a maximum, so they just need to, Boston's goalie needs less than 2, and he doesn't get it, so it's a goal for Albuquerque. So Albuquerque get their first goal in 9 goals scored to make it 13 to 6, and more importantly, they get the momentum back. So Albuquerque's goal scored by Tepete, assisted by Sweet and Gamble. So an even-handed goal to make it 13 to 6 with 7 minutes left in the third period. Still time if they can get on a roll. 1 and 5, and that's going to be visitors take the face-off. So Boston have the ball, and we have a 6, which is a crash, and we're looking at hit. Neither have hit, so Boston will turn the ball over to Albuquerque. And Albuquerque will look to come back up the court with a 3 and 3, which is a 6, and we're looking at a crash with speed. Both have speed, so it stays with Albuquerque for a chance of a scoring opportunity. 5-1, 5-1-2, and 1 will change. So that's going to be Sweet to Gamble to Tepete again. So can he score? Well, we know they've got the numbers, and he does score. So 2 quick goals for Albuquerque within side of a minute, and they've cut this lead down to 6 goals. Albuquerque, same as last goal. Tepete from Sweet, from Gamble, and 13-7 as we now go back to the centre. And again, it's going to be a face-off win for Boston. So Boston now under a little bit of pressure to try and stop the onslaught of Albuquerque, which needs to come to keep this game close. And we have a scramble, and we're scrambling on Smart. 1, 2, 3 Smart for Boston. Only 1, so Boston will get the chance to score. So we've got a 10, 4 to 1. 2 will change. So we've got scissors, which will halve them. 2, 5, so it's a 2, and against a 3 for the goalkeeper Grace. So it's a miss anyway, so Albuquerque, Boston miss. And the ball goes to the visiting team, so Boston will recover and start to build again, and it's another 8. 5 and 3 will change, and we've got a 4, which is a power. So 1, 2 powers for Boston. 1, 2, 3, 4 powers for Albuquerque. So Boston turn the ball over, and Albuquerque will come up the court, transition up the court. 3 and 2, it's going to be a 5, which is a slow whistle. The referee has got his hand in the air for a penalty, but Albuquerque have the ball. 5 to 1, 1 will change. So that is 2 scissors, which will be 0. So they have this. They have the stars, any number, and 2 for Boston's goalkeeper, and it's a goal. So it's a delayed penalty goal. So goal for Albuquerque. 13 to 8 now, and the goal is Gray from Everett and Tepete, and a delayed penalty goal to make it 13-8. So we need to know what the penalty was, and it's going to be on 8, who is The defense number 1, Western. Has he got a penalty less than 1? He has. Then it's a minor penalty, and so it's minor for Western. And the penalty is 2, which is a slash. But he won't serve any time because the goal went in. So at 13-8, we're back at the centre circle, and we have a 5 and 5, 10. So it's a procedure court. It's a highest face-off. 50 to Boston, 80. So it's going to come to Albuquerque, putting the pressure on now. 3 goals in a row. Can they close it even further? 5 and 4 is a 9, and so we're dealing with a loose ball on squares, and so the diamonds count to squares. 1, 2 for Boston, 1, 2 for Albuquerque, 3 for Albuquerque, so Albuquerque have it. And so with our 5-2, we've got a boxer blast, 5 segments. And it's home penalty. So a power play goal results, and as easily as that, Boston take over the momentum. So Boston with a goal on a power play to make it 14-8. And Boston's highest scorer, there's 3 of them. So it's going to go to Western. And are there any assists? Yes, Brodeur gets an assist. So power play goal 14-8, and as we come down to the final 2 minutes of this third period, 5 and 4, 9. 9 on a face-off. Home team wins with an immediate play, so the assassin could get another goal back here if they're lucky. 2, 3. So we're looking for squares. 2 for Boston. 3 for Albuquerque. So Albuquerque will get the shot. And it is 4-3. That's all we have. So they're going to have 1. And Howard has 2 to save. And it's going to be a miss. But Albuquerque recover the ball. And we move on. So Albuquerque looking to try and get another goal before the end of this period. And we have an 8, which is a scramble on skill. 1, 2, 3, 3 for Boston. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Albuquerque. So Albuquerque will get another chance as we go into the last minute of this period. 4. 5 to 2 to 1, and 1 will change. So it's 2, 5. They've got enough. So only a 2 or less, or a 7 of course on this will save Boston. And it's a 10. So goal to Albuquerque to make it 14-9 as we come into the last 30 seconds of the game, of the period. And the goal is for Dickinson from Sweet and Tepete. 14-9 as we go back to the centre circle for the face-off, and it's a 4, 2 and 2 change, and 4 is highest face-off, and the highest face-off is Albuquerque. Albuquerque now with momentum, of course. 4 and 3, 7 is a boxer blast. and it's a visit penalty, so this is going to be right at the end of the period, and Albuquerque will get a goal on the power play to make it 14-10 right at the death of this third period. The scorer, who's their best, is going to be Dickinson. And do we have any assists? We do. It's Browning gets the assist on a power play goal to make it 14-10. So we go back to the face-off because there could be a shot on this face-off. 4. Ice face-off comes back to Albuquerque, and that will end the third period. And we'll be back shortly with the fourth, but in that half, Boston scored 4 goals and Albuquerque scored 5 goals. So we'll be back shortly. Welcome back from the final period, 14-10. The Bald Eagles from Boston leading the Albuquerque Assassin, and we're facing off with an 11 procedure call. It's an even number, so the visitors get the ball, which is Boston. 15 minutes of this game left, and we start with a 5-2, which is going to be a boxler, and it's going to lead to a power play goal. And it is a home penalty, so a power play goal for Boston immediately gets them back to a 5-goal lead, and more importantly for Boston, gives them the momentum. So the Boston goal is going to go to Weston. And are there any assists? Dragon. So Dragon gets the assist to give them a 15-10 lead right at the start of the second period. Well, 3 minutes into the second period as we go to the face-off. 7, it's going to be another boxer blast, and this is going to be a big chunk of time. 6-1. That's 10 segments of time used on that boxer blast. Team with the most squares gets the boxer shot. 2 for Boston, 1 for Albuquerque, so Boston get the boxer shot, and it's a 3, which is going to be 2-1 to 1, but and a 1, which is the goal, so 2, 5, 6, so we've got enough, and the goalkeeper can't stop it from Albuquerque, so Boston get the goal to make it 16-10 as we've got 6.5 minutes left in this period. So it doesn't look good for Albuquerque, so the goal scored at Gladstone from Stram and from Le Doucier. And even handed to make it 16-10. Has to be a fast response now from Albuquerque. If they want to try and get anything out of this game, they'll fall to 1-1. This will be Boston's first win. And we have a 1-2, which means we've got a possible injury coming up here. Let's have a look, see who's been injured. 65. Home team player 5 takes a hit. Use the injury code to determine the injury. This could be bad for Albuquerque. He is an A injury, so it's just the rest of the period. So Roger Barefoot, one of their best defenders, is out for the rest of the game. So Albuquerque injury, Barefoot to the end of the period. So 1 and 4. Mike Schlatter. What a name. Mike Schlatter will come in as the replacement defender. So we have a 5, which is visitors, and they have immediate attack. Something that Albuquerque didn't want to see. 5 to 1 to 2, and 1 will change. So that is scissors, which will count for nothing. 1, so we're on 3. So it's a missed shot from Boston, and the ball will go to the team with momentum. So Boston will regroup, try and work out another route. So it's a 5. It's a 6 and 6, but 5 and 2 is going to be changed, and we have a spectacular save. So a spectacular save here. The good thing for Albuquerque is their spectacular save rate is 5-2. Goalie twist turns, reaches, great, amazing save. So he saves it, and that will give momentum to Albuquerque, which is what they needed. It also gives the ball to C out of bounds, and so it's going to the visiting team. So Boston still have it. 1 and 5 is a 6, and so a crash, and it is on Smart. Boston have it, Albuquerque have it, so the ball will come to Albuquerque as they have momentum. Coming to the closing 5 minutes of the game. 2 and 6, which is an 8. So we've got a scramble, and we're scrambling on skill. 1, 2, 3, 3 for Boston. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Albuquerque. Will give Albuquerque the chance of a shot. 6, 3 to 2 to 1. 2 will change, and so that is 3. They've got plenty. They've got enough. Howard has a player save of 2. And he doesn't save it, so goal to Albuquerque. To make it 16-11. Do they have the time to get back into this? And so Dickinson again scores the goal from Blakey and Topete. Even-handed goal, making it 16-11, 5 goals difference. Can they pull this back? 4 minutes to play. 2 and 2. 4 on a face-off. Highest face-off wins. 50 to Boston. 55 to Albuquerque. So Albuquerque pick up the ball, and they will run down the court with it. And we have an 8, which is a scramble. And we're looking at hit. 1 hit for Boston. No hits. No hits for Albuquerque. So Albuquerque will turn the ball over, and Boston will take the momentum because of that hit. 2 and 6 is going to be another scramble. This time we're looking at speed. Boston have got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Boston turn the ball over. And I think at this point we're going to pull the goalie. So the goalie is going to be pulled, and our 6th player is going to be Josh Hayward. So we're pulling the goalie to see if we can get one of these goals back. We're a long way behind. And we have a spectacular save. Seven. So shot versus goalie. 2 stars or better, incredible save, and it's a save. So Boston take the shot and miss. and the ball goes to the home team, so it's still Boston who have the ball. Sorry, Albuquerque have the ball. And we have a 11. An 11 is a loose ball. Team with the most squares. One and one, so it goes to Boston, so Albuquerque turn the ball over. 2 minutes to go. 9. A 9 is a play. Team with the most triangles. 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's going to be with the momentum, so that's Boston. And so we have got an 8, which is 3 to 2 to 1. 3 will change. And we're looking at 2. We've got enough. Got enough for a goal, and he did a goal. Boston scored a goal. Empty net goal to make it 17-11. And we're down to a minute and a half. The game is over. So the douche here from Garrett and Fenderson. So it's an empty net goal, 17-11, and Grace will come back into the net for the last minute and a half of this game. It's back to normal play. No point taking the goalie out now, they're not going to score that many goals in the time left. We have a 10, which is highest face-off. That's going to come to Albuquerque. And we have a 3, which is a play. Team with the most triangles. 1, 2 for Boston. 1, 2 for Albuquerque. So Boston will get it because they've got momentum. 10, 4 to 2 to 1, and 2 will change. So that's 2. They've got enough. And it's another goal for Boston. So Boston make it 18-11 now with Gladstone from Brodeur and Troxel. 18-11. Boston are going to get their first victory of the season. Albuquerque are going to lose their first game. 1 and 4 on the face-off. Visiting team with immediate play. They could add another one here. 7, 3 to 1 to 2, and 3 will change. So they've only got 5, so they've got enough. And they had another one really rubbing this in. 5-3, and he does score. So Boston, 3 very quick goals. This is how fast they can score in this game. 3 goals within the space of a minute and a half. And we're now on 19, and this time it's Troxel from Tellers and Gladstone. And even-handed goal, 19-11. And Albuquerque just waiting for that final whistle as we go back to the face-off spot. So 1 and 3, so 4 high face-off. So that is going to go to Albuquerque. And they will then 6 and 4, 10. Turnover if they've got a space, and they have. So Albuquerque turned the ball over. Referee blows the whistle to end this game, and so Albuquerque are beaten at home by the Boston Bald Eagles by 19-11. We'll be back shortly with a roundup of this game. So in the final roundup of today's game in round 2, the Boston Bald Eagles 19, Albuquerque Assassin 11. Boston had 76 shots, Albuquerque 71, and Boston had 18 minutes in penalties, and Albuquerque had 16 minutes in penalties. So that's the end of your game. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit of a blowout from the start of the second half, but hope you've enjoyed the game anyway. We'll be back shortly with a statistical roundup of the end of round 2. So let's see if we can make this a bit clearer for us. I'm going to have to do it in a couple of sections. So after round 2, the results from this round: Boston Bald Eagles 19, Albuquerque Assassin 11, Jacksonville Jazz 13, St. Louis Stingers 16, Wells Fargo Lawman 11, Pensacola Flames 10, Wyoming Wildebeest 14, Saskatchewan Mad Hatters 9. So in the Lincoln division, we have Wells Fargo with a 2-0 record, the only team without a defeat. Everybody else is 1-1. So it's Wells Fargo, Bald Eagles, Jacksonville Jazz, and Wyoming. And in the Reagan division, Pensacola Flames, Albuquerque, St. Louis, and Susquehanna. Now, as we look at the top 10 player statistics, Jason Gladstone from Boston with 10 goals, and Von Maxey from Pensacola with 10 goals lead the goal scorers. On assists, Tony Linetti has 9 for Wells Fargo, then Alex Moss of Pensacola, Charlie Roche of Jacksonville, and Sean Segura of Wyoming have 8. And on the total points, we have a tie at the top for Hudson Hogue with 13 and Alex Jorgensen with 13, both for Wells Fargo. Cam Crowning leads the penalty minutes with 15 for Jacksonville, and his teammate Nicholas Francis is behind him with 15 for Jacksonville. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll look forward to seeing you in round 3 for the game of the week. Until then, goodbye.